What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crafters Live. I'm David Wilson. We're back again with another Friday stream where I can't get words out of my mouth, apparently, where we get together as a community and talk about whatever topic I've come up with for the week, and this week is no exception. Yes, we're sort of on time. But we're not really on time for the United States today, are we? Because the time changed last week in Europe, and the United States is straggling 1 week behind. So we're a little bit shifted this week, I guess. And I blame whoever it is who controls the clocks. I didn't cause it. Sorry about that. But what can we do? You know, we're all just victims to the way that time is an arbitrary construct, and it's controlled by world governments and corporate interests. I don't know. Maybe it's not really corporate interests, but you know, we just like to come up with conspiracy theories. This is a conspiracy theory channel if you haven't discovered that already. And I'm just going to go ahead and lay out all of the theories for you today because, I mean, we've got 2 hours and I don't really have anything to talk about. So we're just going to talk about conspiracy theories. First of all, the Earth is flat. Do not at me, as they say on the social media. The Earth is flat. And you can tell by looking straight ahead in the distance at the horizon and seeing that the Earth does not curve. I mean, come on. It's obvious, isn't it? Right? I'm just kidding, all right? I don't believe that the Earth is flat. You would have to be a very misguided soul to believe that the Earth is flat. And I hope there are no flat earthers watching this right now. Okay, so let me see who's in the chat. I saw some activity there in the IRC, but I haven't looked at it yet. Sentinel says, I heard that time isn't real. It isn't real. We invented time. Sure, there is, you know, the constant unfolding of the natural world around us, and it seems to happen at some kind of rate, let's say, but it's all relative, you know? Like if you're an ant, a year probably seems like eternity. And if you're a human being, obviously it seems like, well, short or long depending on your age, but it's all relative, okay? The last time I got into philosophical topics here, I got in trouble in the comments, and I'm sure it's going to happen again, but I believe that time is bullshit. We just invented it as a way to have a point of reference to interact with each other. Sure, I mean, it sort of works, but if you've ever checked the calendar, all the months have different numbers of days. I mean, it's kind of like a hack, right? I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. All right, let me get to the chat like I said I was going to. Here we are. Let's see, we have Big Edie, Cal 2001, Fade, Glenn, Dave, Pie the Sailor. Let's see who else we got here. Morgan, Alternate Ved, Peter, Arnaud. Who else we got here? I know I've seen some other people. Okay, got that for the IRC side. And over on the YouTube side, Alexander says, how come we go from Geeks channels to Flat Earth? Because when we start the stream, we got to say something funny, because why else are we here? Do we want to just listen to boring stuff the whole time? I don't know, not me. I'm trying to make myself laugh more than anything. Hello to Minas Mazar, Fab, Sentinel, Alexander, and Anton. I see all of you. Antares, Anton says in his name. Okay, I'll go with that. All right, so, and hello to Paul. All right, so let's see, what are we saying over in the IRC side? Because I know I missed a lot of stuff. There were some jokes about me being on time. Yes, I was 1 minute late, which I know that people were actually probably giving me credit for being on time, but I do admit I was 1 minute late just because I had to go to the Restream website and copy the RTMP token to put into OBS. So if it wasn't for that, I would have been here right on time, except for those of you who are in the United States. Dave says, it seems I'm not alone in having this stream be the way that I learn it's that time of year again. Yes, I was learning it's that time of year again. Oh, I saw Mike in the chat. Sorry, Mike, if I missed you. The way that I learned that the US was 1 week or 1 hour behind is that I had a meeting with Mike this week and I was late because he appeared on time and I was not expecting the time change. So that's the way it goes. Faye says, I didn't used to care about the time change at all, and now that I have a wee bairn to shuttle here and yon, precisely scheduled times only marginally more. Well, the worst thing is when the time changes and the kid's sleep schedule gets messed up for a day or two just because they're expecting, you know, their circadian rhythm, their body wakes up at the old time, and, you know, they don't know what a clock is because time is bullshit. So you have to deal with a kid who's waking up an hour early because they think it's the right time. I don't really like that. Fade, you'll figure that out on Sunday, I think, or on Monday, let's say. Let's see. Fade says, if changing the clock an hour kills you, your time is well and truly over. Well, it doesn't kill you, but it's supremely annoying. Let's see. Skipping ahead. Skipping ahead. And Fade's still joking at people for not liking the daylight savings time. No point in protesting. It's a thing, says Glenneth. Though Jordan just ditched it last year. Yeah. Peter says in the EU, they decided to cancel it, but forgot to actually roll it out. Did they do that? Let's see. Oh, Trev's in the chat, I think. Is Trev here? Apparently I missed some names as I was going through. Time, says Mike. Peter says, save your sanity, use UTC. Yeah, I mean, whenever I'm doing anything world time related, I have to use UTC, which you'll see in a minute, because there's another thing time related that we're going to talk about. Okay. YouTube side. Hello to Jerry. Nice to see you. And to Jojo. Jojo says, hello, everyone. Quick question. Is it just me or the Geek service or substitutes not working? Well, I hope they are working, because we're gonna probably need it in a minute. We'll find out, though. Maybe it won't be so bad. Einar says, I think there's a fight in the EU over whether to stick with winter or summertime. Wintertime is, of course, the real time. Yes. I don't really have a horse in that race, so I can't tell you which is which. All right, news. I had mentioned last week that this week there would be a video coming out about getting started with Geeks Home. I didn't get it out, but it did actually get recorded today, so I just need to edit it and post it. I don't know if I'm going to post it on Sunday or Monday. I'm kind of trying to understand the best day to post videos so that the most people see them the first day it's out. I don't really know how much it matters, but you know, as far as the YouTube algorithm is concerned, a little bit of a background on the YouTube algorithm if you don't know about it. What YouTube does is it, once you post your video, it recommends it to people on their main feed and also in the suggested videos on other videos. And based on the number of people who click the thumbnail as soon as they see it, the video as soon as they see it, it continues to roll it out to more and more people. So this click-through rate actually dictates how much YouTube rolls it out. So I don't really know, like, if you need to push the video on the day that more people are active, more people who watch your channel are active on YouTube, and that somehow turns out to be on the weekend. So maybe I'll post it on Sunday. Yeah, Glenn says Sunday, I'm busy on Monday. So a lot of people are busy on Monday. Now I would like to go ahead and get the video out. So maybe I will post it Sunday. I just need to edit it first. But yes, the video is done. Just needs to be posted. I think it's good. You know, it's just a little introduction to Geeks Home. Go through sort of the basic concepts of Geeks Home, setting up a basic Geeks Home configuration with a bash config, and also integrating your existing configuration files using the home.files service type, which is kind of like using GNU Sto to place your existing config files into your home folder using symlinks. But it's a little bit different. It's a little bit Geeks flavored. And then I go through using Geeks Home rollback and also sort of switching generations. In case you ever have a problem with your configuration, you can switch to a different generation of the config. So just giving you the basics that are the most useful aspects of Geeks Home, and then we'll cover some more things in future videos, like some of the more useful home services and maybe some advanced use cases, and also writing services, because eventually you will need to write a Geeks Home service if you want to have some more advanced stuff added to your configuration. Or at least in my case, that's what I've had to do eventually. Peter says, I've been looking all week for a video to drop. Sorry about that. I don't know. I've been working on the video all week and I just got it done. So that's the reason why it hasn't come out yet. So that is definitely coming. Also, new thing that I just came up with this week and decided, hey, why not just go ahead and announce it on the stream right now. I'm not announcing it more broadly yet because I'm still sort of trying to see what people think about it. But I am going to do a new thing, which is a workshop, which I'm calling Get Good, from Basics to Beyond in 4 hours. This is going to be a 1-day, 4-hour workshop that currently is scheduled for Sunday, December 8th or December 15th. That will take you from the basics of Git all the way to advanced techniques like Git rebase. So this is kind of meant to be a really quick way to ramp up your Git knowledge, including understanding what Git does under the hood. So not just Git commands and how to do certain common operations, but like what are commits, what are hashes, what are refs, how are they stored in the .git folder that is part of your local Git repository? What does all this stuff mean? What do remotes do? What is Git merge versus Git rebase? How do you cherry pick commits and fix branches that you screwed up? Things like that. So there's going to be an interactive workshop. I'm going to deliver it to you live. And then also there will be hands-on exercises that I'll prepare in advance. I'm going to give you a repository basically where you can make some commits and then use some of these techniques we're talking about to internalize what we're talking about and try it out and ask questions. So I feel like it's going to be a pretty cool experience. And I've got a website up where you can check out more details on that. It's on the System Crafters website. There's not a link to it on the site, but if you go to systemcrafters.net/courses/Git Good Workshop, that's GIT-GOOD workshop. There's more information there and a registration link. Basically, if you register for the workshop, after you register, there's only one link to register, but after you register, you'll be added to a forum group where you can select one of the 2 slots. I've set the times on the slots to be sort of on the opposite ends of the time spectrum, the arbitrary bullshit time spectrum, so that you can pick one that works best for you and the time that you have available. Because it is a 4-hour workshop. We're going 4 hours straight through with bricks, with examples and stuff like that. So it's not going to be so, intense, but you need to have that block of time available. So there's either December 8th at 9 a.m. UTC, and I've got links here that you can click that will take you to a page that will tell you what that time is locally for you. And then December 15th, which is 1600 UTC. So that should work for US people and Europe people, I think. I hope so. Give me your feedback. If you think these times are not really good, maybe I can adjust some things. It's also possible that I could add another instance of that, another week in December. And it also is very likely that I'll do it again in January, depending on how people like it and if more people are interested in joining who didn't get a chance to. So I think it will be fun. I'm really excited to do this because I've learned a lot about Git over the years, and I feel like it's not as complicated as people think if you really understand what the model of Git is and how you can use the commands that come with Git to kind of surgically manipulate the commits you have and also the branches that you have. Because really, when it comes down to it, branches and tags and everything else are just names for commits. So we're kind of going to go into those details so that you have a better mental model of what you're doing, and you'll feel more confident in actually doing some of the more advanced tasks in Git. So go check that out. Register if you want to. Let me know if you have any questions about it. I'll be happy to answer. Send me an email or post something on the forum, or ask me an IRC, but I've been a little bit remiss on IRC this week, mainly because I've been preparing all this stuff. So sorry for that, folks. But I'm excited, so certainly join if you like, and let me know what you think. Let's see, questions. Alexander says in the YouTube chat, I heard that Geeks is based on NixOS. Why doesn't it use Nix packages? Because it's a completely different distribution. Geeks is only based on Nix in concept. The only code that's shared between Geeks and Nix at the moment is the Nix build daemon. I think that Geeks basically uses its own configuration system and turns everything into Nix derivation files that then get used to build everything. But then that Nix build daemon is also calling out to GUILE to run some of the code. So really it's just orchestrating the build at this point, and that part will get replaced with GUILE at some point in the future. But they're completely different, not only because of the code that's involved, but also because of sort of the ideology behind how the systems are supposed to work and the types of software that are available in there by default. So it's a different system entirely. There's only sort of a conceptual similarity, maybe some implementation similarities, and then there's one shared code component. But other than that, they're just different systems entirely. Kurt says, Alexander, that Nix packages contains proprietary software. That's one issue, yes. Kurt says, thank you for posting all these Geeks videos. I'm swapping my home SSH server over to Geeks tomorrow from NixOS. Looking forward to the new vid. Awesome, that's great. Glad to hear that. Hope that it goes well for you. I'm hoping that making more Geeks videos will help a lot more people get onboarded without too much trouble. Because, some people in the community have moved to Geeks this year, and it's gone okay. going okay. But, you know, people have gone back to other things as well, too. So I want to help to bridge the gap and make it a little bit easier for the folks who need to move over. And we'll see how that goes. I'm motivated to make some more videos. All right, let's see. Cal says, Git workshop on the Git work treehouse. Git work trees. Yeah, I should probably cover that too, but it's not as high priority, I think, as some of the other techniques. So thanks for reminding me about that. I've used work trees quite a lot, and they're pretty useful. So it would be worth including. Okay. Nick's Flakes seems to be popular. Is there anything similar in Geeks? Asked Sentinel. There are a couple things that you can use to replicate Nick's Flakes in Geeks. The experience is not quite as polished, I would say. There's a stream I did. Let's see, systemcrafters.net/live streams. There's a stream I did some months ago. Let's see. Where is it? Experimenting with new Geeks features. So there's a stream I did in May of this year, apparently, where I talk about a few of the things that have been added. The system-wide channel configuration, the Geeks home service. Dot file service type is not so important, but basically the fact that you're able to lock the channels for your configuration in the operating system config and apply the home configuration at the same time. It does give you the ability to do kind of a whole system configuration with a pinned channel list all at once. So it is kind of like flakes, I think. I'm not an expert on what flakes are because, like I said, you know, in the video last week, I haven't used Nix in 10 years, and I've only heard things from Benoit, so I'm not exactly an expert on that. But I think that it gets you at least some of the way there. So I'll have to do a little bit more investigation into flakes to see what all the real fuss is about to have a better understanding of how they compare. But that's what I know for now. Okay, so that's that. Today, what I want to talk about is the sort of universe of Geeks community channels. If you don't know what a channel is in Geeks parlance or even in Nix parlance, it's basically a Git repository that contains package and service definitions that can be used in Geeks, and you can basically pull it into your own Geeks configuration by editing your channels.sem file or some other techniques, one of which we will see in a little bit. But they are effectively sources of new packages that you can install in Geeks, packages and services and maybe other helper code, etc. But let's just say it's a source of community packages. Obviously, if you've used Geeks for a while, you realize that the availability and selection of packages in Geeks itself is kind of limited. There's a lot of stuff that you probably want that you can't get very easily because, you know, there's proprietary software out there or software that's only distributed or software that's distributed as binaries that is not very easy to compile in the system that Geeks provides. Let's say Rust applications, Go applications, etc. There's various reasons why sometimes it's difficult or impossible to have certain programs packaged for Geeks in the main Geeks channel. So this is where community channels comes in. Community channels make it possible for you to add another source of packages to your Geeks configuration so that you can pull in software that you can't otherwise get in the main Geeks channel. Now, there's a really awesome project by the Where Is Everyone? Is it called Where Is Everyone? Yeah, the Where Is Everyone community, which is kind of a sub-community in the overall Geeks community, let's say. And they have this cool website called Toys, which has a very unfortunate URL that has Unicode characters as the top level domain. So I always have to go find this URL again because I can't type it. I don't know what the hell these characters are. They're just, you know, Unicode blocks to me on my screen. Probably you could see them differently. I don't know. But if you go there, it's a cool little website where you can search for various packages or services, channels, and even public symbols that are exposed inside these channels that have been added to this repository. So effectively, it's a repository of Geeks community channels that is searchable. So you can go look for software there. Like for instance, if you want to look up like Tailscale, if you want to use Tailscale, you can search for that and see that there are already a few different channels that provide Tailscale or Tailscale related packages, okay? So this is kind of the idea, is that we have this alternative ecosystem of Geeks packages that you have available to you if you need them, okay? So it's a useful thing, and I kind of wanted to point out some of the interesting channels that are a part of this because They may be things you want to add to your own configuration permanently because they have packages that you kind of want to use. I haven't really looked through many of these, and it appears that more keep getting added all the time. If you look at the log for the actual file in the repository, let's see. I mean, it's enough happening there that it feels like there are new channels being created, and a lot of them are quite useful. So we're going to go through as many of these as we can. Just try to take a look at the packages that are defined in those channels, and then maybe try some of them out if we think that one of them has cool stuff that we want to see if it actually does install and work correctly. Does that sound good? Any other questions here? So Cal2001 points out his own channel that's on toys, the Kaka Farm channel, which is such a nice name. Let's see what else we have here. Fade says, what's with emoji bake in that URL? I don't know. I think those are supposed to be Japanese characters, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why anybody would pick a URL like that for a community site because it's so difficult. Cal says, I used to own a Japanese domain, but I ended up dropping it when I learned how much of a pain it is to type in. Yeah, you're not typing that. That's for sure. Faye says, how do you determine which one of these channels provides a good package? Well, that's our job today. Okay, cool. Marco says that the characters at the end of the URL is the Japanese word for everyone. So that makes sense, but still impossible to type. And then RD in the Twitch side says, hello from Malaysia. Welcome. It's first time watching the stream. Sorry if my English is weird. Your English is fine. Don't worry. Okay. So let's get back over to it. All right. So this is kind of a daunting task, I guess. Maybe it's better to pull this repository into Emacs and not try to look at this through a website, because this is the kind of thing I end up doing and regretting. So let's copy this link. Excuse me. All right. I'm going to pull up a little eShell here. Let's go to temp folder, and I'm going to make dir a toys folder. And well, let's turn off this eat eShell mode. It keeps giving me trouble. I don't know why it keeps doing that. All right, and then I'm going to git clone the toys repo in here. Let's go into toys. And I will load up the channels.scm file, which it appears that they're doing something interesting with their channels.scm file. This is a normal channels.scm file, I believe, that gets used by Geeks, but they've made their own abstraction for toys box. And I think that the intent here is to bake some metadata into the channel entry and wrap it so that it comes back out as a channel. I could be wrong about that, but kind of interesting. This is one of the things you can do with Geeks, having it be a scheme-based configuration language, is that you can do schemey stuff like create your own abstractions and use them however you like. So it's pretty cool. All right, so Geeks North America. Setup and management instructions for a Geeks North American build farm. That's kind of interesting. Can I open a URL directly from here? Open. Does anybody know? Ah, okay, so that did work. Cool. All right, good. Let's see if this site loads. Uh-huh. So we might not be checking that channel out. Looks like there's a little bit of an issue there. Next, Geeks channel Emacs master. This seems to be, my guess is that this is a channel for an Emacs package that's built off of master branch. I don't really know if it's needed, because there are features of Geeks already that enable you to set up your own wrapper package for this. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool. Let's just see what's actually in here, because I'm not sure what it provides. Emacs next to minimal, Emacs master minimal. Okay, they got locked commits. And they're just sort of wrapping the package declaration. Inherit Emacs. Okay, so they're effectively just replacing the commit hash. Benoit says mine is there too, but probably outdated. Yeah, who knows? Maybe not. So, okay, that could be useful if you want to have an easy way to pull in a build of Emacs that's straight off of the master branch, like the really raw in development stuff. But I don't think you need this personally. I mean, it's kind of a nice to have, but there's no reason to pull in an extra channel because it just delays things whenever you run Geeks pull. So maybe Akib can tell us, if Akib is watching this, happens to be watching this and can comment, he might be able to let us know what the value of this might be aside from just doing something that Geeks can already do itself. If you don't know what I mean, there is a technique with Geeks where you can, do I still have that in my config? Let's see, dot files. Was that in desktop.scm? Okay, it's not here anymore. There's also emacs.scm. Yeah, I think I took them all out. But there is a, what is it called? Options to transform Geeks. Is that what it's called? Package transformation options. Defining package variants. Okay. Options to transformation. So it gives you the ability to wrap a package with specific transformations, like basically saying, I want the latest commit, or I want this specific commit, or whatever, and do it in a programmatic way in your configuration. So you define a transform, it effectively returns a procedure that can apply a transformation to a given package. So we can transform, in this case, the Geeks package to use a different version of GUILE gcrypt and also add debug info for the zlib library. You can do the same thing for any other package. You can tell it to use a specific commit hash or a branch or anything else like that. So you don't really need a channel that gives you these kind of wrappers to use a specific commit. But like I said, if it's convenient to you, then it's perfectly fine to use that. All right, next. Percopop glue. I've seen Percopop around. Let's see. Let's open this one up. What is this one? Did it open or no? Oh, I have to press enter. All right, so let's, is Percopop's own configuration. Let's go to the tree, and I'm guessing it's under source and glue. So there's packages and services here. So it's a few things. I think I might need to actually clone this down. The reason why is because it will be much easier to discover what packages are available. So before I do that, one last thing I should probably do is click on the channels list here. I wonder if it will give me the listing of packages that come from it. Okay, it doesn't do that. That's fine. So let's go into the shell again. I'm going to go over here to eShell, and then I'll go down one level, and I'm going to git clone the glue repository. There we are. And then I'm going to edit that folder, let's say. Oh, so here's what we'll do. I'm going to use ripgrep and look for package. Okay, so define public by address. There's a package called by address, and that is, it's actually, okay, well, we can go into this file and do that. So define public. So there's by address, which is a Rust wrapper type. So this seems to be a full Rust file. Maybe it's just a bunch of Rust libraries. CLRU, which is an LRU cache implementation in Rust. Let's see, port of the diff component of diff match patch of Rust. Okay, so Rust libraries, obviously. What's in the Emacs XYZ folder here? Emacs Fussy, what is that? Provide a completion style to Emacs is able to leverage Flux as well as other fuzzy matching scored packages to provide intelligent scoring and sorting. Never heard of that before. Could be interesting. Benoit says this is Rust Geeks dependency hell. It is kind of a problem. All right, so Emacs cargo.el. Seems like maybe there's a this is maybe isn't part of the main Geeks repository yet, but should be. So it's a minor mode for cargo file format. That's fine. This may not be the most efficient way to go through all this. I'm not sure exactly what that will be yet, but we'll figure it out. Blight mud. Rust blight mud. Is this a terminal mud client written in Rust? But it's commented out, so that's not really useful to us. DevOps. Thanks, Glenn. I saw you there. Let's see. DevOps has OpenTofu. Declaratively manage your cloud infrastructure. All right. Don't know what that is. Should I use 9Geeks' binary build system instead? Probably. Factor. So Factor programming language is concatenative stack-based programming language. I've heard of this recently, so if you're interested in using the Factor language, you might be able to use this Factor package here. I've not tried it out though. Let's see, files. Okay, that is not there. Keyboard IO. I guess this is software for managing that sort of keyboard stack. McFly seems like some more Rust stuff. Replaces your default Control R shell history with an intelligent search engine that takes into account your working directory. Okay, so it's basically like a better Control R for your shell. Never heard of it. Sounds cool though. Sisyphus. Let's see what's in here. More Rust stuff. I'm recognizing a theme here. The toil never ends. Okay, it's Puerco Pop's own project, it appears. All right, there's an Emacs package as well. Don't know what that is, but not really going to spend time figuring it out. slint. Maybe is it like a Rust linter? slint. Provides GUI toolkit to efficiently develop fluid graphical user interfaces for embedded devices and desktop applications. Never heard of it, but if you're a Ruster, you probably know what this is. All right, tablet. Some drivers for tablet devices. That sounds cool. Maybe somebody would need this if they have a tablet with these specific drivers. That's cool. Waiting, doesn't like anything is there. That's it for packages. What about services? Anything cool in here? Flatpak. Ooh, there's a Flatpak service type. It appears that this might be something you can use to... Okay, just sets environment variables. That's fine. I mean, I don't even bother going that far. I just set it in the bash environment variable stuff. SQLite service type. It looks like it just sets up a SQLite RC configuration file. I would say this probably could be done more simply, but why not? Wireshark configuration. This may be Puerco Pop's own home services for their own personal configuration, not something that is necessarily meant to be used by other people. So yeah, just using Wireshark, and I don't know how to pronounce this. Atween. Not sure what that is either, but it seems to be mostly commented out. Benoit says OpenTofu is the free Terraform. Okay. Mike asks a good question. Just curious, but are these channels trustworthy? The default answer would be no. Mainly because you are depending on a random nice person on the internet to package up software without injecting some malicious stuff into it at the same time. Also, whenever you pull a Geeks channel into your system, you're effectively allowing it to execute arbitrary GUILE code on your system. So yes, be very careful. I think that anybody who pulls in a new community channel to their system should examine the code that's in the channel to see if there's anything weird in there. Yeah, Benoit says the true thing. They may be safe today, but bad tomorrow in a future update. The next thing I was going to say is consider pinning the channel to the commit that you've reviewed and don't update it to a newer commit until you've checked the repo to make sure that nothing else has been added to it that is malicious, which is kind of a pain to do that. But it's also somewhat necessary because it is true that they could execute arbitrary code on your machine or inject backdoors into the software that you want to use. So you should be a little bit careful about this. You know, it's all fun and games until someone backdoors your system. All right, so I think that's enough for the glue channel. He's got his own actual system configs in here too. It just feels kind of weird to use your effectively your dot files and add it to this community package repo, because then your config is kind of just, you know, indexed and floating around out there. Maybe it's not a big deal. I don't know. I mean, my config is public to the internet too, but it feels like having that be promoted as something that someone else should pull into their Geeks channel list. It's kind of weird. Cal says it would be nice if you could run channel code inside a container the way you install packages in a container. Well, okay, so it may be the case that whenever you compile the channels that are part of the channel listing, that it's being done in the Geeks build daemon. I would imagine that's actually what's happening. So it's not likely that it's going to immediately compromise your system, because it should be getting executed in a sandbox. Somebody should actually try that and see whether it is possible or not. I imagine someone has tried that, but I just haven't heard about it. So it is probably being sandboxed when it gets executed, but still that's not enough, because sandboxes can get escaped in any number of ways. So you should be safe. No, you should be careful no matter what. Let me check the YouTube chat. All right. Alexander says, what do you do after reverting to an older generation in Geeks? What if I need to install something after that? How are they branched? They're not branched. If you roll back to a previous generation and then you make a change to that configuration, it just adds a new generation to the end of the list. So there's no tree of generations as far as I know. You're just adding a new entry to the generations list whenever you make a change. So it's not necessarily linear in terms of the progression of changes on a single line of history. It's linear in terms of the latest generation that you built and activated in your profile, as far as I understand. Antler says, but options transform will fetch the source repo on every invocation, and inherited package def cache is better. Well, that's true. Antlers does make a good point that if you use options to transform, I think it will rebuild the package every time. So if you define a package that inherits, then it would be more convenient. But still, I would say if you're going to try to do that, it might be better to do that in your own configuration instead of pulling in a channel for that, if it's a simple package. If it's a complicated package, then definitely, using a channel is fine. Fulitic says, can Geeks be installed on bare metal? As far as I know, firmwares are outdated, so I can install it only for old PCs only. No, you can. I install it on bare metal all the time. This is Geeks running on a laptop. So it really depends on what you need. The non-Geeks channel, which is like the default second channel that everybody puts in their config because they need, non-free drivers. If you use that, then you'll get the full Linux kernel and all the stuff that's available to it. So that's all fine. Hey, Pop is in the Twitch chat. Nice to see you. Most of the Rust XYZ libs is a package ESLint LSP, which is a LSP for a Rust GUI library to capture to-do items, journal in an SQLite database. Cool. My goal is to write them in an extensible manner similar to Nix's home manager. That's cool. I think it's cool. Like I like your .files repo / channel. It's good. Don't take anything that I said before as a criticism of what you did. I feel like kind of weird myself putting my own .files repo into the community channels list, because a lot of the stuff that I've packaged in my own .files repo is kind of haphazardly done, and I don't really intend for somebody to use that yet. Some of these things need to be upstreamed. I need to put some stuff in the main Geeks repo. All right. Benoit says, in my case, I kind of brought in stuff in my own channel inspired from others instead of having too many channels. That is another option. You can copy the package definitions that you find in other people's channels into your own channel, provided that the license is compatible. And then use it that way so that you have a bit more control and understanding over what's being installed on your machine. So that is a smarter approach, I think. Cal says, okay. Benoit says there was a security bug recently in Geeks Daemon that allowed code execution out of the sandbox. There was something like that, yeah. Cal says there's a time machine somewhere in Geeks. No, yes, there is Geeks Time Machine, which we will use in a little while, I think. Porcopop says, what you said is reasonable. If one shares their doc files, they have to be careful about secrets, for example. Yeah, you definitely need to be careful about that anyway, even if it's just on a GitHub repository or some other public website. All right, let's move on. Next in the channels list, oh boy. Project kill buffers. Kill the buffers belonging to the current project. Bam. Gotta love project.el. Now, that was glue. Guix R Us. Now, Guix R Us, I believe, is a more fleshed out community channel. It's another thing by whereiseveryone. I haven't really looked into it a lot, but I know there's some stuff in there that might be useful. So let's get clone that one. and then take a look at what's inside. I apologize for all the coughing. Still recovering. Was this the 5th week now? From all of the lovely, lovely treasures that were bestowed upon me from the schools of my children. All right. Packages. There's a lot of stuff in here. Let me do a little search on define public and see what we see. I'm going to use, what is it called? Embark to export this list so we can kind of take a closer look at it without digging a little bit too hard. Here we go. All right, I'm seeing some Python packages. Git trend, what is that? Get trending GitHub repos from the CLI. Don't know that I care too much about that. Let's also close this. Can you close it? Control X O, thank you. So what is Git Pygel? Update Pygel from Git. I don't know what Pygel is. Anybody know what that is? All right, let's see, some Go packages, probably for a program that's in here. FJ flattens JSON into a value, okay. Go tags, CTags compatible Go tag generator for Go, okay. ASCII to tech, I'm guessing that's a tool for people who want tech formatted ASCII, okay. Roman to Kana, sounds like a language thing. libcsv, is that a C library? CSV library written in pure ANSI C? That seems like it should be upstreamed. I mean, why is that here? It's LGPL. HTTP flow, mainline utility that helps compare and dump an HTTP stream. I shouldn't go through this whole thing. Scheme tech info, that seems kind of useful. I don't know why that's not in the main repo. All right, let's just kind of scroll. Whatever seems really interesting to me, I'm gonna stop on, but hopefully you see some things too. And how laggy is it whenever I start scrolling through here? All right, only a little bit. Oh, NPM. That's not the regular NPM. It's a password manager. That's not confusing at all. All right, Pirate Get. It's a command line interface for the Pirate Bay. Okay, sure. Let's see, what else we got in here? There's quite a lot of stuff, isn't there? Reads an org agenda file and displays an interactive and colored year calendar with detailed information for each day. This was apparently written by Nicolas Roger based on the URL. So there's like a Python-based tool that can read an org agenda file and display a nice looking calendar. I have not heard of that. That's kind of cool. Should we quickly look at the page? Because I'm sure he's got a screenshot for that. So let's go with the XDG open. Hello. There it is. All right, and that's, they say that's in the console, so that's kind of nice. Guess I don't really need it though. I've got the agenda already, the agenda view. Python build, package builder. Okay, fine. There's a lot of Python stuff in here. Python libraries. Guitar scale chart. Script to display guitar scales across the fretboard. Cool. Well, that's probably useful. JPM. Oh, wait. JPM is in here? Why didn't anybody tell me that? They've already packaged JPM for Janet? Everybody's been working on this and nobody said that it's here. What do they do? I was doing the same thing. Okay, well, I guess that answers the question of how to get JPM into Geeks. They should contribute this upstream, because it would be nice to have JPM set up in Geeks. I don't know if the merge request by Omar got merged there. Stack Overflow import. Easily use code directly from Stack Overflow. I mean, how easy does it really need to be, right? How easy does it need to be to copy code from Stack Overflow? There's literally a copy button right there. So I don't know. Paul says, sign up for the Git course. I'll be home on holiday when it's on. Something I need to know. Well, that's great. Thank you very much. Will the course cover Magit as well as the command line? No, I won't cover Magit also. This is strictly a course about Git. However, if you watch the Magit videos that I have on the channel after you have gone through the course, I think you'll understand what's going on in there much, much better, because Magit is literally just an interface over the existing functionality, and the same workflow that you use with the command line works in Magit, and in fact, Magit makes everything much, much faster. So, yes, we won't cover Magit, but what you learn will be directly applicable to Magit. So I should probably put that in the page because it does make sense to answer that question. Mohammed says, what shell do you default to using nowadays? Only Bash, because I use the shell so infrequently. Okay, I use a combination of eShell and Bash because eShell is just there. But if I need to run programs like, let's say, Geeks shell or anything else that requires a more faithful terminal experience, or a real shell, let's say, I use Bash inside of EAT and Emacs, or sometimes Foot. I've been using Foot a little bit more sometimes now that I use terminal Emacs occasionally. But yeah, I don't really use anything fancy because Bash is so universal at this point that it just makes more sense to use that. Let's see. All right. And Muhammad also said, I just came from your new shell video. Man, that was a long time ago. That was a real long time ago. Okay, so... all right, that's that file out of all the files here. MoviePy, that's cool. So MoviePy, if you don't know, is a Python library that allows you to make movies with, edit videos with code. I didn't know they had this, but I had actually used MoviePy to do a little bit of video editing maybe last year sometime. So it's cool to know that they have that here. The Olive editor is another video editor for Linux, and it seems that they've got some packages here for that, so that's cool. Excuse me. Qtile. I would figure that Qtile is already in Geeks, is it not? Come on. There appears to be a lot of Python stuff in the Guix R Us channel. Okay, so Qtile is here, but this must be... Okay, some Wayland stuff. Is this like a Wayland build of Qtile? Is that why it's different? It'd be nice if they gave an explanation in the comment why this package is different than the one that comes with Geeks. Let's see. Meta E. Come on, come on, come on. Send me to the end of the forum so I can see if there's like an explanation in the description. Nope. Okay, never mind. Let's see, what else? Post-Market OS, that's interesting. PM Bootstrap, which I think is a tool for bootstrapping a mobile device with Post-Market OS, which is probably one of the better Linux mobile OSs, I would say. Peter says it would be a good topic how to upstream a package to Geeks. Yeah, it's certainly its own journey, let's say. Okay, so Post-Market OS. Let me just go back down to this list here again so we can skip through these a bit faster. Okay, so there's some stuff from Suckless, like something about scroll back with mouse, swap mouse, undercurl. Never heard of those before. Slick, don't know what that is. Aniguruma, which is like a regex library for syntax grammars, which is used, I think, by the TextMate grammars that are used in a lot of JavaScript-based code syntax highlighters. What else? Treesitter CLI. Okay, there's a whole Treesitter library here. Helix. Is that the Helix editor? And Tekuti. I think that's Andy Wingo's blogging system in Scheme. So it seems this is the Helix editor. So there's a Helix editor package if you want to use Helix. Swayfire. Okay, is that like a combination of Wayfire and Sway? I'm not really sure. The Wayfire window manager is here. Is a Wayland, well, let's call it Wayland Compositor. All right, we're back to that. There's some Lua stuff. Terminal shit. Shit chat. What are these? Siberia.club. One of those, what you call? Tildiverse style things, I think. If I'm not mistaken. All right. Oh, the hair compiler. If you want to try Drew DeVault's hair language and compiler, you can install that here. That's fine. There's some Emacs packages here. Let's see, like an Imager package. I guess you can upload images directly to Imager. I don't know what Emacs meme does. Sounds scary. Emacs WebKit, Pomodoro EL, Emacs Geeks packaging. What is that? It provides tools to create and maintain Geeks packages quickly and with confidence. I have not heard of this. Let's pop that open real quick. Are you going to decide which one it goes to? Oh, there we go. I got to press enter. Can't forget to do that. There we go. Prompts for a set of package streams with completion. Inserts the corresponding input form. Okay, I think this is old anyway. Do we really need to do that anymore? Saves the Geeks hash to the kill ring for a Git repository URL at a given tag. That's cool. It could basically get the hash for the repo for you, so you don't have to screw around and get it yourself. Refresh the cache of information about available Geeks packages. It's got snippets. So that's kind of cool. I haven't seen that before, but apparently, actually, I have seen it before because I started, so I'm a liar. You learn something new that you already learned every day. Awesome tray, cat poochin theme, console projectile, nano theme. Seems like some of these must already be in the main Geeks repo, but who knows? Emacs Copilot. Aren't there multiple Copilot packages at this point? There's some Guile packages, some Wayland packages. Linux says, I wanted to see the fish photos. There are no fish photos. This fish meme has gone too far. Some Java packages, unfortunately. Some more hair, looks like libraries, apparently. Some Vim libraries, probably for NeoVim. So definitely some Vim users over here. Some OCaml libraries, some Common Lisp libraries. I'm sure Fade might recognize some of these. Himitsu, isn't that some kind of like proxy? GIMP next. We're back to Suckless again. Some custom configurations of certain programs. It looks like they have the SXMO versions of programs as well, which if you don't know about SXMO, which it's kind of interesting that these are provided. It means that maybe Geeks does work on post-market OS, but SXMO is basically like a Sway-derived or Sway-like desktop environment, if you want to call it, launcher shell for a mobile phone that's running post-market OS. So I've tried it a little bit. It's interesting, a little bit weird to get used to. I don't know. I can't really depend on a phone that's running Linux just yet. I would love to, though. All right, we got to make a little bit faster progress here. Linux says, about the hat, time for a system crap restore. Thanks, Cal, for linking it, because there is one, for sure. Python ignorant. Difftastic. A lot of Go libraries. A lot of Rust libraries. A lot of Rust libraries. My voice is cracking already. All right, let's move a little bit faster. Okay, that's it. Okay, so for packages, there's quite a lot of stuff in there. For services, it seems like there's an open SMTPD service. I've not really used that. I'm not sure exactly what it's good for, but there's a service for it to configure it. All right. So maybe that we can call that one done. Patches, suck less patches, home services. Ooh, there's a home service for Emacs. This could be interesting. So I didn't think that there would be home services, but that could be something that would be useful from a Geeks channel. So if you don't know, another way that Geeks channels are useful, which may actually defeat what we said before about Geeks channels being executed in the sandbox, is that Geeks channels effectively get added to the load path of the Geeks process, which means they get added to the GUILE load path. So effectively, the Geeks channels you pull in, they're effectively libraries that you can import into your configuration. So you can pull in service types for system services and home services directly from these channels. You can also pull in helper code that they provide. So channels are kind of powerful in that way. They are effectively libraries that you pull into your own Geeks configuration. So once again, it's configuration as code, actual code. All right, so there's a lot of stuff in here. Very sorry. But that might be useful because there isn't one merged into, there isn't an Emacs home service merged into Geeks proper yet. I had written one and contributed it, but I never got back to finishing it up. A couple other people have done it as well. I don't know if it will ever get merged, but it is something that would be quite useful. I would like to cover that a little bit more on the channel at some point in the future, especially if one does get blessed as the official one and put into the main Geeks repository, because I think there is some value to having your Emacs configuration, not just the packages, but the configuration itself managed by Geeks. All right, other things here. Let's see, Himitsu, Foot. There's a Foot service. I guess Foot does have its own server, so that it's easier to open individual Foot terminals, but they share the same server process. It's supposed to make it faster somehow. Apparently this is for that purpose. I don't really know if it's worth it. For me, I'd probably only run one terminal. But if you're using a tiling window manager and you want to have 15 terminals open on the screen at the same time, I guess this would be pretty useful for Foot to make things use less memory, I suppose. Okay, so that's the Guix R Us channel. Let me try to copy down some of these that we thought were interesting. So let's go back one more time. I'm going to use the magical little project kill buffers to get rid of all these buffers from Guix R Us. That's cool. We're going to pull in the Prokopop glue channel because we did look at that one. I'll put that in the show notes. Channels we looked at. I suppose I should have been writing down things that were interesting about them, but hey, that takes time. And then the Guix R Us channel we looked at. So let me just go here. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, we're gonna copy that. We're gonna go over here, drop that in. All right. And did we look at anything else? We looked at that, the Geeks channel Emacs master. Sure, we'll add it to the list because we actually did look at it for a moment. All right, we'll just drop that in right over here. Cool. Next, Geeks Emacs. What's that all about? We'll just take a quick look at what the repo says and then move on if it's not something that's super interesting. Unmaintained, Geeks channel for automatically generated Emacs packages. Okay, since it's unmaintained, we'll skip it. Geeks Rust next. I found another repo that seems a bit more interesting for Rust. Let's take a look at this though. Whoops. Let's see. Geeks packages for recent Rust. All right, that could be useful for someone, I guess. It's been updated 2 weeks ago, so that could be pretty useful. There's a different thing though that might be, well, I guess it depends if you're gonna, well, okay. This could be useful. There's another thing that might be more useful than this. So we'll skip on to that one as we run into it. All right, Geeks Tailscale. Tailscale is one of these things that I hear about a lot. It definitely seems to have a lot of value. Tailscale is a kind of like a private VPN, which I guess private VPN is a little bit redundant, but it's like a tool for managing your own VPN between your machines, but it's a bit more peer-to-peer in that you can easily add new nodes to your little VPN by setting up Tailscale. And I think what it's doing is it's under the covers setting up WireGuard to do the actual point-to-point connections between the machines. So it's a peer-to-peer VPN and with a kind of a nice interface on top. I think that the software is open source, and Benoit says, and you don't need to open up ports. That's very important too. I think the software is open source, but it's a company. So I personally am a little bit reluctant to use it, even though it seems really good, because they can change their mind at any time and stop providing the stuff for people. But maybe that's just me being a little bit too reluctant. It would be nice if Geeks had its own way to do this with kind of a more simple WireGuard configuration, but it's probably not easy. You would have to actually update your Geeks system configuration anytime you wanted to add a node, which could be a pain in the ass. So I don't know. But anyway, Geeks Tailscale, it is possible apparently to install Tailscale through here. I think we also did see a few other packages that provide Tailscale. Maybe they compile it from source. I believe this one probably doesn't. I'm guessing this is using the, it's using the Go build system. So maybe actually it is building it. Go fetch vendored. Okay, so it may actually be building the code. That's cool. We could try it, but since I've never used Tailscale before, I don't know if it's worthwhile, but I'm gonna drop it in the list anyway so that someone can go take a look at it if they're interested in using Tailscale. Benoit says, you need a gateway open to the public. This is why people use the Tailscale service and don't self-host that. Yeah, I think there also is like an open source, like fully self-hosted version of Tailscale called something else. Was it like Headscale or something? So that's another alternative for people who don't want to depend on a company to provide that functionality for them. All right, so there's Druix, which I'm guessing is another personal channel that got added here. It's Drew's Geeks. And this is Drew C, who is Drew Crampsey. I think I've seen Drew C around. It's based on how Drew uses Geeks personally and on a business scale. All right, and if we look at the packages list, let's see how many there are in here. Databases. Okay, PostgreSQL database. Anything else? Notes? Archive? Ooh. Looks like there was a lot of stuff in here that may have been deprioritized. What's going on in the README? Did I see something in the commit log? Go back here. Kind of weird, right? Let's check the archive folder. I'm kind of curious about why this stuff was moved. Archive old, soon to be deleted. A lot of stuff got moved to archive, apparently. Who knows why? Okay, so maybe that's not a good channel to look at because there's not much in there anymore. Peter says, I use a Forgeo I have anyway for my channel. Yeah, that would probably be kind of cool to do. All right. Flat Watson's Geeks channel. I think that Is this the one that we used to use for the Emacs Next packages before the native comp stuff came out? I think so, yeah. So there was native comp stuff in here. I don't think this really is updated anymore. Okay, 2 years ago it was updated. Probably nothing in here was updated that recently. Yeah, 2 years ago. So this channel is dead, but it's dead only because the Emacs with native comp stuff is already in Geeks, and it has been for a while because Emacs 28, is it 28 or 29? I think it's 28. Emacs 28 has been there forever at this point. Probably as long as I've been living in Greece. All right, next, Geeks HPC, which is definitely a kind of a larger sub-project in the Geeks community. A lot of Geeks people are working on that. It's basically packages for high-performance computing. Probably a lot of extra stuff too, like services and other things that are necessary. So I'm not sure exactly how useful it's going to be for us to look at this because I'm not really a high-performance computing type person. I don't know if you are either. But it might be interesting to see if there are any services in here. INRIA. What's in the INRIA folder? Maybe there's sharing configurations of machines at different research labs for the purpose of comparing them. That'd be kind of interesting if they did that. CNRS. Okay. There's package definitions there, which seems a little out of place. I would expect them to be in like the Geeks HPC / packages folder. There's some stuff in here. There's probably some Python data science stuff in here that would be useful if you are a data science person working with Python. So there could be some packages here that might be of use to you. So maybe I'll put this in the list just as a way to provide as an option to people who might want to look at HPC related software and packages. Next, RDE. Well, that needs no introduction really. RDE is the customized Geeks distribution by Andrew Tropin and the RDE community, which provides basically a fully configured, I guess you could call it advanced Geeks environment, and it has its own configuration model on top of what already comes with Geeks. So it simplifies certain aspects of Geeks configuration. And there's a lot of software and services packaged here, but I think some of it is not directly compatible with the way that Geeks does things typically. So if you use stuff from the RDE channel, it's going to look different than the other things that you're using in your normal Geeks configuration, unless you become a full RDE user, and then you're going to be using things in the RDE way. So something to keep in mind here. You could probably find some useful packages in this, but if you start trying to use services, then they may not exactly follow the guidelines of how Geek services are authored. However, let's take a look real quick. In fact, we should probably pull this one down to get a better look at it. So I'm going to pull the URL into this list really quick. And then we'll go into eShell and clone that. So let's go back into eShell, git clone RDE. That repo is a bit bigger because it's actually like a large project. And then, excuse me, let me edit RDE. And then inside this folder, we can go ahead and do a little search on define public using ripgrep. And then use embark to export this to a list. So I see some interesting fonts here. Font Noto emoji. I feel like that's already in Geeks, is it not? Yes, or sort of. I don't know if it's the same. It may be a different configuration. There's an Iosevka nerd font. There's some packages for Emacs, including ARI, which is the GUILE IDE, the new GUILE IDE that Andrew's been working on. So if you want to get the latest build of that, you can go through the RDE channel. There's also some latest packages for some other things as well. Probably they're being used by ARI or other packages that are in here. There's a next version of Next. If you want the latest stuff for the Next web browser, you can find that there apparently. Let's see. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Seek in the YouTube chat says, who's Git course? I've got a Git workshop coming up next month that I've just started promoting. If you check out the link in the description to the show notes, then the link is in there. All right, Waybar stable. Is it unstable? There's tdlib for Telegram. Emacs consumer, not sure what that is. Some plugins for MPV. Let me also check IRC again. All right, cool. All right, and some image configurations, features presets. So this is kind of what I was talking about before with the feature design. I guess it's listings of features for different types of environments, but they have this kind of feature model, which is a bit different. So I would search for it, but I don't want to break the kind of path we're on currently. I should probably do an actual stream on RDE and try it out at some point just to kind of get a better understanding of what's in there. Okay, predicates. There's some Node.js packages in here, interestingly, because you don't really see very many Node.js packages in Geeks. A lot of Node.js packages. I wonder what is using those. Okay, that seems to be it, at least on the defined public front. There may be some other things that are defined that we didn't run across. I'll go to RDE packages. I think we saw all those. Okay. What about services? Do we miss any services? Home services. All right, so Android. I don't know what F-Droid CL is. Transmission shepherd service. If you want to use the transmission app for BitTorrent, then you can run a background service. There's a udisky service, which I find to be pretty useful. I use udisky. I think I actually have my own configuration for that. Emacs. They have their own Emacs service type. I have not looked at it in great depth, but I think it's more complex than the one we saw in the Guix R Us repo. So that's something you can look at if you want a more comprehensive home service for configuring Emacs. Oh, okay, this is kind of nice. The GTK3 service type for configuring aspects of GTK3 apps. It's the theme, icon theme, and other things of that nature. I use G settings to set these things instead of using the configuration files, and it works pretty well for me. I don't know what I2P is. Probably someone can tell me about that. Keyboard service using XKB. I guess it makes it easy to set the keyboard layout using the XKB. Cool. Lisp services, home Lisp service type. Configure common Lisp related tooling. Okay, so I guess it's a clearinghouse for setting up various aspects of common Lisp tooling. That's cool. Mail configuration, go IMAP notify. Is that all? Okay, seems to be just go IMAP notify. Fine. There's the Pantalemon. I don't know how to pronounce that, but this apparently is the program that enables encrypted communication with Matrix if you're using a client like emit.el, which doesn't support encryption out of the box. So this is a service you can run locally to mediate the encrypted communication between Matrix and Emacs using emit.el to your actual Matrix server. So that's something you might want. There's an OCaml service type. I guess this is for setting up OCaml and doing a basic configuration for the user, I guess. Shells, they have their own home bash service type, which is interesting. Looks kind of similar to the one that's in Geeks. Probably this is where the original one came from and then got moved into Geeks. And this one is still here for probably, incompatibility reasons. Shell utils, some Z shell stuff, plugin manager. Cal and Glenn both say that I2P is kind of like Tor is the invisible internet project. That's cool. There's an MPV service type for configuring MPV extensions, it seems, and other MPV settings. Seems pretty minimal. Not really sure how necessary it is. Web browser setup. There is a service for Nixt. It appears that these are meant to be not so much for running programs as services, user level, but actually for doing real configuration for certain things like Nixt, etc. So that might be kind of interesting if you're a Nixt user. There's a service for configuring Nixt here. Waybar configuration service as well. Okay, so if you're using Waybar, there's a way to do declarative configuration in Scheme for Waybar. I stopped using Waybar because I didn't really need it. So don't need that very much, but other people might be interested because Waybar is pretty nice. There's a home Rofi service type for configuring Rofi using Scheme. I'm guessing it's to use Scheme, but maybe it's just a list of, oh, okay. So they're basically converting an S expression style syntax to Rofi configuration output. So since there's a structured configuration style, it is possible to use a Scheme style and then have that be converted into the Rofi format. So it's kind of a more direct translation without any interpretation of the configuration format. All right, so that's the home services. There's system services as well. The cloud init thing is kind of interesting because if you know anything about deploying virtual machines on cloud providers like DigitalOcean, Vultr, AWS, etc., there's a standard called cloud init, which I think makes it possible for a new VM to boot up and the cloud provider to then apply specific configuration, hardware configuration to the VM as it's booting the first time, like disk configuration, etc., to customize the VM. So you can basically have an off-the-shelf image for Geeks that has this cloud init stuff set up in it. And the first time it boots, the cloud provider is able to tell it, okay, change your configuration to these things and then run. And I think it might also take care of things like resizing of partitions as the VM already exists. So I think so. If anybody else knows about cloud init, maybe Peter knows about it or Benoit, feel free to chime in on that. But this is something that has been needed for deploying Geeks in the cloud for a while. And I know that Andrew has made some progress on this recently. And apparently Nikita's been working on it as well. So nice to have this here. I haven't tried it yet. Don't really know how stable or robust it is yet, but it is something there that someone could look at if they needed cloud init functionality. Okay, Perkopop says it provides partition information, but you need to do the resizing yourself. Okay, that makes sense. Hey, Fikri. Perkopop said earlier that what was it called? I missed it. Oh, RSent. One channel I found interesting is RSent. It includes some code to build DigitalOcean droplets using Geeks. That would be pretty interesting, actually. Okay. So Perkopop says the cloud init service that's here might actually do the resizing. I see system resize partition config. So we are seeing that it might use E2FS progs to resize the partition. That would be cool, actually. All right. Dave says, I don't know why you wouldn't just launch the VM with the parameters you want. At my last job doing DevOps on AWS, I removed the use of cloud init nearly everywhere in favor of one-shot systemd services baked into the disk image. That's certainly one way to do it. I guess it's just if you want to have a pre-canned image that you can deploy and not pre-bake the system configuration in there like that. But maybe it doesn't make sense. I don't know. Geeks definitely changes some assumptions about how things should be deployed. Dave says, when I've done Geeks on Linode and DigitalOcean, I built my own images the way I wanted them. Yeah, I did that more recently too, and it worked pretty well. Okay, so that's the cloud init thing. What web? There's a different Nginx service type there. That's kind of interesting. Networking with IWD. That is what wireless configuration thing, if I'm not mistaken. Yggdrasil, which is another kind of peer-to-peer networking thing, I believe. What's in Geeks here? Copy on write store, admin. There's a sudoers service to edit the sudoers file, fine. And then the RDE has its own concept of a user account. Okay. Okay. Features, there's like API for features and stuff. Oh, actually, this is where the features are defined. We're not gonna look at that though. All right, fine. So let's move on. That's RDE. There's some useful stuff in there, I think. Dave says, Cloud Init just feels like a clunky old thing for imperative distros to use, I guess. Maybe so, maybe so. All right, let's go back to our good old project kill buffers. Boom, they're gone. And we'll go back to channels.scm. So we have Raghav's channel here, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I know that Raghav has done a lot of work on the GNOME environment in Geeks, or at least that was where I first heard of Raghav before. Let's see what's in his channel. Let's take a quick look at the repo before we jump in and see how many packages are actually here. All right, some suckless stuff. This may be his own personal configuration. Xorg packages, okay, very, very minimal. What about services? Base, nothing, okay. So that one is just a personal channel, that's cool. Geeks packages by Unwax. Who is Unwax? That name sounds familiar. Who is Unwax? Unwax.com. Web developer, Linux enthusiast, and also anonymous. All right, so tree, Unwax, home services, okay. Looks like an Empress proxy service and some more proxy stuff, I guess. Pulse audio service, okay, cool. You don't really need that. Not the most interesting things, but that's cool. There's a small Geeks channel here. What's in here? Let's see. Okay, another one by Yakumo, looks like. Okay, there's some stuff in here. Wow. Okay, there's quite a few package modules. What's the explanation here? Let's see. Channel's a staging area for stuff I plan to upstream somewhere. It may be Geeks mainline or a community channel like 9Geeks. So it looks like Yakumo. What is his name? Fish in the calculator, I think, right? Fish in the calculator. Has he got a different name now? Different name on GitLab? Fish in the calculator. Okay, I was right. I'm usually pretty good about remembering real names to handles. All right. So there's a bunch of stuff in here that might be useful. And it's been updated 2 days ago. So it's quite frequently updated, or my metric is not very reliable, but okay. Let me clone this channel. Let's take a look at what's in here, because this seems to have more than the usual channel that we run into. I want to find a couple more really quickly, because I want to make sure we don't run out of time. There's two that I kind of ran into that seem kind of cool. Whoops, I already got it open. Close. All right. So Geeks Forge, that's a cool one. We might get back to that. 9Geeks, obviously we know 9Geeks. TrevDev apparently has a Geeks channel in here. That's cool. We've seen the Rosenthal channel before. I think that, what do we see in Rosenthal? It was Hyperlamp was in Rosenthal. There's a Confetti channel. Don't know what that is. Bin Geeks. I want to take a look at that one. And there's Geeks Android, which seems interesting, but I'm not going to land on that one. Let's see. Arnie Kapore. Noisy Toot has a Geeks channel. Let's see, what else? There's Benwatch channel right there. The Sops Geeks and Go6 channels that are also by Yakumo, Fish in a Calculator. I think we looked at those a little bit in another stream a few months back. Let's see. Appur V has the Nebula channel, which has some audio stuff in it, like audio plugins for DAWs, etc. So there's some pretty cool stuff in there if you're a music head. I haven't really used it yet, but I've seen some useful stuff in there. Ephraim has a Geeks channel that's here. Wygust has one. That's cool. There's Cal 2001's channel. Atomized Geeks. What is that? The name just sounds interesting, so I'll open that one up too. All right. There's too many here. Obviously, we can't just go through all of them, so I'm just going to have to find them really quick. Guix Rust Up. That's one thing that could be interesting. There apparently is a Olama channel by Tushar Hero. I think Tushar Roy is his name. I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. A Media Goblin channel if you want to install Media Goblin. There's Arnaud has one in here. Bric-a-brac, probably some odds and ends of Arnaud's own configuration. I like that I'm seeing a lot of System Crafters folks in this list. Let's see, there's Laurent here with his own channel. Fabio has a channel. Okay, we're missing some things though, because I'm pretty sure I saw other ones in here. Where's the... Okay, we got Ben Geeks. There was another one that is something Rust related. Is it the Geeks Rust Up that I saw? Maybe it was the Geeks Rust Up channel. Anyway. Let's go back to Small Geeks. Have we cloned that one already? All right, we've got Small Geeks. We'll quickly run through that one. Then I want to catch a couple of the other ones that we saw as well. So let's go to edit, Small Geeks. Sure, whatever. And then we're going to pop up here and do that. Okay, so Small Geeks, we're going to use ripgrep. Look for define public because presumably everything would be in define public. All right, packages. GUILE LSP server. That's something worth looking at, maybe, if you want to use a language server protocol server for GUILE. I've heard of this. I've not tried it before. I don't know if it's any good, but hopefully it is. Some Go packages for something called Papier. What is that? Looks like it was related to Google stuff somehow. Okay, don't know what that is. Some VNC clients for Wayland, it seems. JetBrains programs, Idea Ultimate. If you need JetBrains tools, you could probably find them there. Some Perl libraries. Mulvad VPN. That's another one of these VPN things. I haven't really used that before. Docker Compose plugin. Is that the plugin for Docker Compose for the Docker package? Isn't that part of Docker now? Is that needed? Geeks DevTools. Okay, that's Yakima's own stuff there. Let's see, Google Cloud CLI, Fluid Plug. That seems to be, ooh, that's kind of cool. Is this like Fluid Synth? What is this? Yeah, Fluid Synth stuff. There are a lot of instruments in here too. That could be pretty useful. I haven't really tried that yet, so Fluid Synth. So I don't know like how good they sound, but who knows? All right, some more Python packages. I don't know what Solo is. Solo 2. Control it F, 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 F. Come on, where is it? Where's the description? Rust library and CLI for Solo 2 security keys. Don't really know about that. Multicute. Who knows? PM Bootstrap, another PM Bootstrap package, it seems. Firmware update non-free. That's interesting because firmware update that's in Geeks already does not seem to have non-free firmwares to do automated updates, firmwares on your system from within Linux. So you need to have the one that comes with 9 Geeks for the non-free version, but apparently there's some extra stuff that needs to be fixed for this to work correctly. So this seems to be a patched version of the package that Yakima put together, so that could be pretty useful to someone, I think. And there seems to be a rootless Podman Docker emulation. It seems that you would pass a Podman package in here and it will, interesting. Kind of like tweaks it a little bit to make it work with rootless Podman with Docker. Not sure. Anyway, that's interesting. What else we have? We have, that's services, okay. Packages, we saw that. Home services, Docker CLI. There's a Docker CLI service type. Installs and configures Docker's command line interface. Okay, that could be kind of useful. Gamma step configuration. I mean, you just need like one line to configure Gamma step as a shell or as a invoking the program on the command line. So you don't really need a config for that necessarily. I just throw it directly in my sway config. I don't know what OSH is. OSH shell? What is that? Oh, oil shell. Okay. Bash compatible command line shell. I've heard the name before. I don't really know what's good about it. Better language and runtime. There's a website. Okay, sure, fine. All right, let's move on. I think we've seen what we need to see in that project. So project kill buffers. The next thing would be this bin Geeks, which might be kind of interesting. Did I copy that small Geeks link? No, I did not. So let's grab the URL, not there, here. And just drop it straight in. Broke it. There we go. Okay, and then next is going to be this Geeks bin. I haven't looked at what packages are in here, but what it says is it's a channel that aims to package binary releases of popular applications to make them available in Geeks. It was updated 2 weeks ago, so it seems that it's still actively being maintained. Peter says that he got flashbanged by the white screen. Sorry about that. Oh, okay. I'm pressing Control in a bunch of times because apparently I'm thinking in Emacs key binding. Sorry about that. All right, so why binary apps? Okay. Sure, blah, blah, blah. Let's take a look at the packages folder first. There are a few things in here. Some Apache programs. Jenna, haven't used that before. Maybe I should clone this just to make it a bit easier to walk through. So let's do that again. We're going to git clone bin Geeks. We're gonna hop up here and then go to, well, let's see, edit dot bin Geeks. Yeah, I know I'm doing this a very stupid way, but sometimes you have to do it stupid. Define public. It's good that everybody seems to be using that strategy, so it's easier to find packages that are exported by a channel. All right, so Control D, E, and then Laka is a closure-like language on top of Guile. Is that right? And it actually does have persistent data structures. It's a full dialectic closure for Guile. Also consists of a set of Guile modules providing some of closure's functionality in 2 different guises. But why is this in bin Geeks? If it's written in Guile, why does it have to be a binary? It's not even a binary build, so it seems kind of a misnomer a little bit to call this bin Geeks. There's stuff in here that's not actually binary packages, but that's okay, whatever. Closure tools. It's a jar file, so makes sense. All right, closure tools depths, nitro key. Anybody know what nitro key is? Manage nitro key pro and nitro key storage devices. Excuse me. It's getting late. Data 11. Open source data log query engine. I'm smelling a lot of closure here, so that's fine. Update CLI. Tool used to apply file update strategies. Not heard of that before. But apparently it is a binary distributable tool. Javi or Javi, not sure exactly how you would pronounce that, but it is a JavaScript to WebAssembly toolchain. Also WASM time. So if you need to use WASM related stuff, there's a binary package of WASM time that you can unpack into Geeks. Peter says, why binary apps? Because they are awfully practical. It's either that or Flatpaks. Yes, I agree with Peter on this. Sometimes you need conventionally distributed Linux applications that are either distributed as binaries that are in tar.gz files or as .deb files or .rpm files. And the way to pull those into Geeks is to unpack the packaging, whatever packaging the thing has, and then make tweaks to any actual executables or library files that are part of that to change the paths to like the Linux interpreter and any other libraries that are being statically or dynamically linked, I guess, to come from the right paths in Geeks, because Geeks puts things in all different places. So usually it is possible to do that for many pieces of software. Some are more complicated than others, but it can also be easier to do that than building certain software that is commonly packaged as binaries. So it can be kind of useful. Babashka is in here if you want to use Babashka. It's kind of like a optimized closure runtime for shell scripts, I think, and interactive programming, maybe. There's a lot of HashiCorp programs here. OpenTofu, which we saw on another channel. Slack HQ Nebula. What is that? Whoops. Let's see. Scalable overlay networking tool with a performance on blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's kind of like Tailscale, sounds like a little bit. Reg client, Reg bot. Don't know what those are. Protosure. Okay, so a protobuf library for a Proto-C compiler plugin to generate native closure support for Google gRPC protocol buffers. Okay, fine. Is that it? On Bing Geeks? Is that all? Felt like there would be more, but I think we did actually cover it. So I was expecting to see more like commonly used applications like Discord or Visual Studio Code. But maybe those are already in 9Geeks, are they? They might be. I guess we should look at 9Geeks too, but we probably don't have time. I kind of want to look at the lesser known channels anyway, just to have a sense of what's out there. All right, Atomized Geeks. I'm kind of guessing this is Ian's own personal config. There are some packages here. What's the UEFI package? Okay, ThinkPad UEFI signed. Check and cryptographically signed UEFI firmware images found in ThinkPads. Not a problem I have, really. Archival. All right. Video. Jellyfin media player. This is it building Jellyfin? Okay, it might be building Jellyfin. It's a cute build system. Oh, it's a media player. It's a desktop media player. Okay, not exactly the same. An MPV shim. Cross-platform cast client for Jellyfin. All right, so these are clients for Jellyfin. WASM. There's a WASI. There's some WASI things in here. Some runtimes. Okay, that's kind of useful if you're a WebAssembly user and you have to deal with the WebAssembly system interface. You might want to take a look at those packages. LibreWolf. What did I just see? Oh, update to upstream. Okay. So this is a... What? Upstream LibreWolf. Okay, there's upstream. From GNU packages LibreWolf. LibreWolf WASM sandboxed. It just tweaks the original package. Okay, it uses that that tool chain for WASM 32. Huh. Not sure what the benefit is here. Maybe there is one. Who knows? Floppy disks. Ooh, that sounds kind of cool. Toolshed, a package of utilities to perform cross-platform development from Windows, Linux, or Mac OS X computers to the Tandy Color computer. Wow. And the Dragon microcomputers. Portable disk image utility. Okay. Flashing tools. All right. What about home services? Media. Okay, some Jellyfin stuff. Services, PM, the power management. Okay, it's like turn on power top. Fine. All right, not too much there. We could put it in the list, but probably not going to be one that's going to be useful for most people. So let's just go back to our org file. We're going to drop that in right here. Done. And let's see. There's Geeks Rust up. How much time we got left? Okay, about 15 minutes. So is this the one I was thinking about? Yeah, Rust binary toolchain channel. So if you use Rust, you're probably familiar with Rust Up, which is a helper tool that enables you to install various different versions of the Rust compiler toolchain, like the stable version or the beta version or the nightly version. What this channel apparently does is provide a package definition for Rust Up, which you can use to install those binary distributions of Rust, the builds from those various channels, stable, nightly, and beta, by just pulling in that package and then asking for the appropriate output of the package. And apparently you can even ask for specific dates of the nightly builds. So this might be easier than using the versions of Rust that are packaged with Geeks, but I don't know if there's any downside to it. Like, is there a downside to using this if you are also trying to use it to build Geeks packages that use the Rust compiler? You would have to tweak things to replace the Rust compiler package, but even that still may not be enough. But I think maybe what this really is for someone who wants to do Rust development locally, use Cargo the normal way without having to kind of do it the Geeks way, and then you want to have specific versions of Rust pulled down the way that Rust Up would normally do it. Thanks, Dave, for coming. He says, got to go. Fun stream. Way more channels out there than I had realized. Also, Dave, tell Christine I saw her email. I'm going to reply. I'm just terrible at replying to emails, okay? Let her know that I did not ignore her email. She had a good idea. I'm going to follow up on that. All right, so let me copy that one in here too. I'm not going to try to pull this one down and use it, but just know that it's there. If you need to use Rust and you want to use the latest versions of the toolchain that are actually for the binary distribution, this may be one way to do that. It was only updated 4 months ago, but I'm guessing that it doesn't really need to be changed because this is probably pulling things down the same way that Rust Up does. So it probably doesn't need to be changed very often. It's sort of just a framework for installing Rust binary builds from Rust Up, or the same way that Rust Up does. Peter says, for tons of use cases, you still need nightly features which are not available in Geeks. Yeah, I mean, that's just sort of the way it is with working in various programming language ecosystems with Geeks. It's really nice whenever things are packaged well for Geeks. If you're writing a C or C++ application, super easy usually to get what you need and build everything using the libraries that are available in Geeks and, you know, compiler tool chains, etc. But for things like Rust or Go, or I guess even Zig, which is not really well supported yet in Geeks, and other more obscure languages, let's say. I would say Rust and Go are not obscure, but they're more obscure than C. It's really difficult sometimes to do development with those languages because you're trying to fight against the Geeks way of doing things. And a lot of times the tool chains for these languages want to put things in your root file system, or you have to install them to your home folder, but even then things can be a little bit wonky. So you do need to have escape hatches kind of like this sometimes, where you can install a conventional built version of the compiler tool chain that everybody else in the world uses, and more up-to-date version, etc., so that you can get your work done. Otherwise, you may have to use a Docker container or some other strange approach, a VM, etc., to do your development, and nobody really wants to do that because it's a real pain in the ass. So, yeah, I think this is probably going to be useful for people who do Rust development. Okay, so now that we saw those, I think we can go back to, excuse me. I think we can go back to the original channels.scm file and just see if there's anything else in there that was particularly interesting. Got about 10 minutes, let's say. Let's see what's in Cal 2001's channel. All right. Kaka Farms contributions to the world of GNU Geeks. Monetary support with a nice money bag emoji. All right. Somebody go buy Cal a coffee over there. I'm sure he needs one. Because he stays awake all night. That's why. I'm not saying anything. All right. So we got some Emacs packages. Emacs detubifier. There's a few things in here. G-reader mode, nano TTS. Cal says nothing interesting. It could be interesting. I don't know. That's why we're looking at it. Let's see. Guile XYZ. I think there's some stuff that you were putting in here, right? Guile clipboard speaker. All right. I guess it reads what's in your clipboard. I don't think I would want it to do that for mine because it's probably just a bunch of dumb stuff. Guile RSV. Is that a virus? R7RS small scheme library for reading and writing RSV or rows of string values data format. I think I remember when you were working on this. Surfy 133 package. Surfy 232 package. That's cool. These definitely should be in Geeks itself. I'm guessing that's the goal. Another Surfy package. All right. Rust apps. Rusty Diceware. All right. Passphrase generating solution. All right. Tech info documents. Yeah, the R7RS small tech info document, the language, or sorry, the language specification for Scheme, which is cool. I think I remember you doing that one too. And it seems that's it for now. All right, that's cool. We'll put that in a list. Just because we were there. All right, what else? What's in Wygus channel? Wygus is a name that you see around in Emacs and Geeks land. Oh, a bunch of patch files, packages. I believe I had seen OBS in here, if I'm not mistaken. A newer version of OBS. Maybe I'm mistaken about that. Swear I saw it. Maybe it was in somebody else's thing. There's a number of packages in here, it seems. Godot 3. Is that a binary build, or is that actually doing a real build? It's inheriting from Godot just to build the version 3. Okay. What version is Godot on now? 4? Audio, Scream Virtual Network Sound Card. Okay. Wait, let's go back. What's dot files? Someone's dot files repo. Oh, Wygus dot files, which could be installed with Chemois. Okay. Games. Some roguelike, or sorry, actual rogue style games, I guess. Which reminds me, Geeks Games channel. Does that still get updated? Geeks Gaming channels. Okay. 3 months ago. So this is a channel, which I'm going to add it to the list because people probably need to know about this, which tries to package up some binaries of games, like Factorio, which I just saw. Also has the GOG downloader for Good Old Games website, Humble Bundle downloader, it seems. So you probably recognize a lot of these things. There's Baldur's Gate. Which Baldur's Gate? 2? Okay. Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. Maybe that's the original Baldur's Gate then, not 2 or the latest. Diablo. It's supposed to be a port. Okay, so there's like a build of the Diablo somehow in there. Dwarf Fortress, Factorio, Fez, FTL, Ion Fury, Hotline Miami, Hollow Knight, Papers, Please, Quake 3, Stardew Valley, Starbound, Streets of Rage, Terraria. Let's see, what else? Thomas Was Alone, World of Goo. A lot of, known names of games. So if you're interested in installing some games directly in Geeks, you could do that with this. I think they're usually downloading them from well, I don't know if they're actually downloading them from GOG, because you would need to buy it first. You have to log in before it works. You have to have your email and password set up in your configuration to download those. That makes sense. That's fine. But good to know that there's a place where you can go install actual game binaries if you have purchased them. This is not for piracy. This is for installing actual games that you own. So just keep that in mind. We're not trying to do anything illegal here. Not at least right now. Maybe some other time. All right. Geeks Gaming channel. We're back here now on the Wygus channel. There's a lot of stuff in here. What Guile packages do we have here? Haunt Simlinks. Guile feed is for what? Generating RSS feeds. Manage RSS feeds. Okay. What else is interesting here? Let's see. Messaging. Okay, there's nothing in there. Must have been at some point. Yeah, sure. We'll just add that to the list, but I don't know if there's anything too world-shaking in that channel. All right, so that was quite a number of channels we scanned through. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, what, 12, 13 channels we looked at? It just sort of goes to show that the Geeks community is actively trying to package software that might be interesting to other people. There's a lot of sort of individual efforts out there, people sort of doing the same work on different packages, different pieces of software, packaging those for Geeks in their own channel, and usually packaging them in different ways. But that's fine too, because part of the power of Geeks is that it gives you the ability to write your own package definitions so easily that if you need a certain piece of software and it's not packaged yet, or it's not packaged in a way that's convenient for you, then you can pretty easily go and do it yourself. Well, I say easily, it's not necessarily easy, but all the tools that you need to do it are there. So it's possible to do it. So it's good to be able to go find community channels that have stuff packaged, but obviously still we need more of the stuff funneling into the more standard package channels, like the main Geeks repository and channel, for things that can be there, things that are free software or open source, at least free software compatible. And then the things that aren't free software compatible to be in the non-Geeks channel, because non-Geeks is the thing that has the most value as a channel for people who need non-free stuff, okay? And this is pretty regularly updated. You got full Firefox there. You've got a lot of other binary programs. Let's look at the non-GNU folder. The full NVIDIA drivers are here to be installed. It's not necessarily the easiest thing to use, but it is possible to use them. In fact, there is information about that on the README of the repo. There's some info about NVIDIA graphics card here, so you can use that to get started. For packages, you can see they have, let's see, they have where they have a messaging list. There's Signal Desktop in here. I think there's also Telegram Desktop. There's Element Desktop. Okay, there's no Telegram here. Let's see, Zoom. If you want to install Zoom, if you're doomed to Zoom, then you can install Zoom to be doomed. Okay, so Element Desktop. Let's see, productivity. I'm kind of scanning this. There's Reaper. If you've ever used the Reaper DAW, it's in there. The Steam client, if you want to install Steam, you can install it using the non-Geeks repo, and it actually does work quite well. I've installed games in Steam using Steam installed from non-Geeks repo, so it does actually work. VS Codium is in here. Is a full VS Code in here? VS Code? Okay, Okay, it's just VS Codium. It's sort of like the quote-unquote open source version of that, but if you want to use VS Code for whatever reason, it's in there. Babashka is also in the 9Geeks repo. Full Google Chrome is in the 9Geeks repo. Let's see, what else? What's in productivity? I'm just curious about what's in here. Anytype, I don't know what that is. Zotero, okay, that makes sense. It's just Zotero. VPN, there's Zero Tier. I think Zero Tier is another thing kind of like Tailscale. I think so. I could be wrong about that, but it's another VPN thing. In the video thing, there's the Intel Media Driver, which you do need if you want to use hardware accelerated video encoding or decoding in your system. I actually do install the Intel Media Driver non-free so that I can use libva for the VA API and whatever the other thing is, so that I can get hardware accelerated video encoding in OBS and other programs like that. So it is something that you might want to have if you are streaming. There's also OBS with CEF, which is the Chromium embedded framework, which allows you to put browser overlays inside of your OBS to do overlays for like chat and stuff. Like you see on this stream, the overlay that you see that has the IRC chat popping up is actually a browser overlay. And that's coming in from an extension that I wrote, or a little program that I wrote, but it's a browser view effectively pulling that stuff in. And I'm using OBS with CEF now because it's in 9Geeks and it gives you the latest version of OBS with the browser control installed. And that's that's something that's not there in the OBS that is built with normal Geeks, because CEF is not, it's like kind of a binary distribution. You kind of have to use the stuff that it gives you. So this is a better build of OBS if you need to have that browser overlay functionality. So that is something that's also in 9Geeks. So I knew I saw Weigust. So Weigust did have an OBS 29 or 30 package at some point in his channel. He must have put it here. That makes sense. I'm not crazy after all. I remember things. Cal says, the way I do it, when I do it, is to first try it out in my channel, and then when it's ready, send it to Geeks Devel or whatever. Yeah, I do that too. Then I wait a month or forever just for someone to pick it up and tell me to resubmit because I missed some Geeks style thing. Yeah, that's part of the problem with submitting any change to Geeks. Usually the best policy is to send your email to the Geeks Devel or Geeks Patches mailing list and then immediately go to IRC and tell people, hey, I sent a patch for X. Because if you just wait for someone to look at it on the mailing list, you're probably going to wait forever because there's too many patches. Arnaud says, yes, a lot of constraints, time, and effort. Yeah, that's the thing about contributing directly to Geeks. I guess that's one thing to say in favor of more decentralized channels like 9Geeks, is that maybe it's easier to contribute things to those places than to Geeks itself because there's just too much activity there and the maintainers can't keep up very easily. But then you end up with more fragmentation in the community, and that's not so good. So I don't know. Maybe there just needs to be more people helping out with patch reviews, especially testing patches in the main Geeks channel, just so that the maintainers can move a little bit faster. Let's check on YouTube chat. Hey, Eric. Eric says, last time I tried Geeks, it was missing the terminal TYM and the Git version of AwesomeWM. Don't know if it has those yet, but might. Even spent a while trying to make my own package for TYM, but without any luck. Well, let's just check really fast. What is TYM? TYM, it's not there. All right. Anything else? I think that's it, right? That was fun. I kind of have a headache from talking the whole time, but that's what I do for you. I don't know. We're all here to have fun and learn something, and hopefully it was fun for you. It was certainly educational to understand what other channels are out there and what kinds of things they have in there. I mean, obviously, I probably only got through half or less than half of the channels that are in the list of the toys website. So just to go back to that, Follow this link from the show notes because you can't type that in. I can't type that in. It gives you the toys website, which allows you to do search across all those packages. So instead of going and trawling through all those channel repos, you can search for specific programs or services, etc., which will be a lot more efficient for you. And then you can find which channel that the package is in or the service is in, and then put that channel in your own Geeks configuration. Yep, that's that. And I'll mention one more time, new thing for December. I've got a couple dates for a Git workshop called the Get Good from Basics to Beyond in 4 Hours workshop. And I'm basically just going to teach you all kinds of really cool stuff about Git within 4 hours in one day. And you can go check that out in the link that's in the show notes, which is in the description. I should probably link the workshop link in the description too. I just didn't have time. But check that out in case you're interested in learning Git, especially if you are sort of an intermediate to experienced user and you really want to understand what's happening under the hood and get a better grasp of the sort of conceptual model of Git. Check that out and let me know what you think. So that's it for this week. Thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate your time and attention. And until next time, happy hacking. Have a great weekend.